In this video, we're going to look at naming binary acids as well as bases. Starting with binary acids, the way that you're going to recognize a binary acid is that the first element is always hydrogen. The second clue is after the second element, if it's a formula, you're always going to see the state symbol AQ. What this means is that it is in the aqueous state. And we'll get into this further into the course, but being in the aqueous state means that it's in solution with water. And acids and bases are always in solution with water. They're never fully pure. So in order to name these, the name is going to begin with hydro, and it's going to end with ic acid. So for example, one would be hydrosulfuric acid. What you've got to pull out of this is that the second atom in this formula would be sulfur. So we're going to write our two atoms, hydrogen and sulfur. And then again, figuring out our valences, we've got +1 and -2. So if we crisscross those down, this becomes H2S. And then we have to put in the AQ state symbol afterwards. Okay, very important. I'm not going to give you full marks if you don't put in the AQ. Our second example, HCl, we're going to recognize that we've got chlorine, so its name is going to be hydro, and then the chlorine part is chlor, and then the ending, ic acid. So that is hydrochloric acid. In terms of the second type that we're going to look at in this video is bases. So again, remember with bases, we're always going to have AQ as our state symbol. And bases always contain one or more of the hydroxide ions. So in order to name these, the hydroxide basically comes at the end of the name. So we're going to name the metal, and then we're going to name the hydroxide part of it. So looking at our first example here, we've got cupric hydroxide. What we need to recognize is that copper is a multivalent ion. It can have one of two valences. It can be either +1 or +2. Our formula here, this ic ending, is telling us it is the higher of the two, meaning that it is +2. So we're going to crisscross these down, and anytime you have more than one OH, you're going to put brackets around your OH. So that's going to become Cu bracket OH bracket 2. Our second example here, now we haven't talked about these yet, but this NH4 is a polyatomic ion called ammonium. So we're just going to name it as such, and we'll do the naming of those in our next video and our next lesson. So this is ammonium, and then the OH is the hydroxide. Oh, and I made one little omission on the first example here. We got to put in that AQ.